Okay, so we're going to be talking about changing the elements on one of these bar heaters. Obviously it's winter now, and these kind of heaters can become useful, especially in the when you're out in the workshop or the shed. Now at this time of year they can heat the shed up as well, so we'll take a look at doing that. What I will say first and foremost is you need to obviously buy some replacement elements. Now they do come in different sizes, as you can see there, 164 millimeters on this pack. We've obviously checked the element sizes that are in here, and these are the same size. Now just because they're the same size, you're not guaranteed to get the same connection on the ends. In fact, the ones that are in there now are exactly the same as these, and I did this the previous, you put some of these in the previous year. They've actually just this minute both died, so they need some fresh ones. Now if you're looking for these quartz heater replacement tubes, they're called on here, but these element tubes replacement, if you're looking for these, the best place to get them is on eBay. You can look online in general, but eBay do generally have them anytime you come in. These particular ones are Alpine brand, ELPINE, Alpine, and they do various different brands, but obviously there are going to be some really cheap ones out there, and some of them will only last 5 minutes, you know, and they'll burn up. This one says lifetime 3,000 hours. It probably wasn't 3,000 hours, probably more like 2,000 probably. So you know, they're never going to be truthful with that. But you will have to make some adaptations for the connection side of things to fit your particular heater. If you can't get the actual spares for your brand of heater. I mean, this is a night one, but you know, there's that many of them around, and all sorts of different brands. You know, they're not all going to be the same. Now you have got a sheet metal reflector there, and you might need a pair of pliers, or a needle nose pliers might be best, to remove some of the joins in with the sheet metal at the side, and do some workarounds if I can remember. Now obviously make sure the thing is unplugged. If you're that much of a spanner, you leave it plugged in, then you deserve to be electrocuted if you do that, to be honest with you. Now some of them might have some security type screws. These ones are Phillips. I left the 2 security screws out in this one. That was obviously because that was in case they were a pain in the future. You don't really need all of them to keep it joined, but sometimes you might get the security screws, like the kind of screws that we looked at. I don't know if you remember on the that pound, well, both the pound shop Quid's Corner precision screwdriver and the Power Fix one. They get like that flat-ended screwdriver with the dip cut out of it in the middle. That was the security screws that are in there. Obviously it's like a flat-ended screwdriver basically with a dip, so you could probably actually make your own out of an old flat-ended screwdriver that you probably didn't care much for anymore. You could probably make one. It's probably not the you know, the absolute end of the world. If you've got a grinder or something, you could just grind a nick in, or an angle grinder, or a Dremel, you could have ground a nick into your one. Okay, so the rest of them are all Phillips. Obviously you'll have to undo that. And you will have to remove this foot as well, but I just want to rest it for the minute. In fact, I could probably rest it on the bottom, so I probably could just that'll just pop off. You just pull it back gently and that'll just pop off. That's a piece of pie, as an American would say. I was going to say something else beginning with P, a piece of P, but what do the Americans say? That's a piece of pie. Easy as pie, man. There we go. Oh, that's another thing you Americans do. You say premiere wrong, don't you? You say premiere incorrectly. You say premiere. We're going to the premiere tonight. When really it's the Premier, as in Premier League. It's not Premier, it's Premier. Sorry America, but you got that one wrong. I'm just going to the movie premiere. Obviously your electric driver might get this done a lot quicker, so we'll probably just snap forward to the alright, when we've undone all the screws, it'll just come apart like that. Our heater, you can see the back of the sheet metal reflector, where I said to you it joins through little bits to the main part, to the bits on the side, where you'll need some pliers to loosen them back. But what we will do, you can see where we connect our polarity wires to the elements on the quartz tubes. It's just like a light bulb. You'll have a positive going onto one side and a negative going into the other. It's the same with these, and they both split off to both sides and they both go onto there. Now these are some connectors, the makeshift connectors that I made last time around. They just go onto the ends of the screw like that. Pull on and off, pull on, go on and off. But you could just make some, or crimp some. So we got our terminal crimper sets that we looked at before out. I've left them out still because I knew the kind of thing I was getting into now. And these just these kind of loops here, connector on there instead. Crimp them onto the connectors there instead, or solder them on maybe. And that nut there should move off the thread. Then we can put the loop on and then screw the nut back on. That'll lock that in place, so they'll be a lot better than the previous ones that still worked okay and did the job, but that'll be a better option this time around. Now we can put these on now, first of all, before we undo the sheet metal and change the elements around. But remember, you can't screw them back onto those ones because you have to get them out and put brand new ones in. So once you put them in, you just have to leave them kind of as they are. So we can have a look at that now actually. To here, so we can So if we can just remove the plastic sheathing off these, because I don't think we're going to be needing those. I think I might use some shrink wrap wrapping. Well, not shrink wrap wrapping, but some shrink wrap to cover that. And what we'll do is we'll see if we can we might not be able to, we might have to to cut that. See what you would do, cut it as close as you can as possible to the end, because you want to make sure that it's still going to reach your section. You don't want it to I'm going to take the going to use the wire obviously you don't have to use a pair of these. You could actually get away with lightly scoring the wire. This is braided as well as coated underneath, but you could lightly score the wire with these or a pair of sharp scissors, orange handle scissors, and just carefully pull it off. You do have the other kind of wire stripping holes that you could use as well to do it. We'll try this. This seems not to be gripping hold of this at the minute. We saw when I did the review that it does work, so might just be the braiding causing trouble here, or it could be that see what you can do. Sometimes you got something thin, like the tip of a screwdriver, a flat-ended screwdriver, or in this case it's the tip of the Stanley blade. You can just the very, very tip, if you're careful you don't cut yourself. Just bend that wire back over a bit, make it a little bit thicker, a touch thicker. To be particularly honest, try the next size up. Yeah, this is incredibly tough. Incredibly tough. It's incredibly tough, this one. Well, it won't even crimp very, very slightly. I don't know what I'm going to do with that one. It's tough as nails, that terminal. Woo! Brilliant. Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Go on, piss off. Some heat shrink tubing. They've used black all the way around originally on these, so but, might use something that I don't use instead of coating. Obviously you got the blue that you could use on the blue side, and the brown or the red you could use on the red side. And now something that I don't usually use. Never going to be seen till I change the bulb again. Anyway. Right. Obviously I'll make use of the red and the blue, you see, on other things, or the brown and the black, so, and a lot of other things, so something like this, it's rarely going to be seen. One of the other colours might just be okay, because we've got the main colour of the wire itself. It's just the same as it is now using black on the ends. You can see the polarity of the wires because the whole braiding of the wire is colour coded still. It's just to cover up the there's a purple one in there as well. Just to cover up the connector. Now this, like I said, this just showed you a minute ago, this connector is mightily tough. The red it's supposed to be up here. It's tough, but we'll try them ones out, so take that. Where's this one? I think. Where's it located on here? It's supposed to be the top one, so which is odd. I thought it would have been a smaller one, but there you go. We'll take a look at that. I'll pop one of these on first because I decided to go with some shrink wrapping, or some shrink sleeve. Is the term for this electrical point of view. I think it is shrinking sleeve or something like that, isn't it? What else is that? Remember? Where's the front on this? Try these ones. These ones are a little awkward, a little different to be honest with you. Good quint, see if that's good enough. Not really. They never seem to be brilliant. None of these crimpers. They all seem to be relatively crap on the smaller ones. Strain your hands as well, trying to put enough pressure on it. That should be okay. And I will I'll shrink that up, I think, just with the go, that's that formed. You only need a gradual bit of heat. You can hold it away and just wave it around. You don't even need the shrink attachment, the shrinking attachment that wraps around. As I say, you can just go like that. It generally just shrinks anyway, the wrap. So these ones are on the crimping side of things, a little bit different. That's certainly a different design. What that does do like that is the split on the front of connectors. A little bit hard to see on these ones. You got a split that runs down the middle, which helps you compress it. You got this split on there. These type at the top, you would put the, so obviously it's colour coded, red to the red dots, blue to the blue, and yellow to the yellow dots. But these ones are just like a curve, like a forming curve. So you put your connector in there and put all the pressure down on it, and it would form the thing round. And sometimes it just doesn't always crimp properly. But what that pin in the side does is actually digs into that split and kind of pushes it in. But it didn't do it then, so it was you know, equally formed from the middle out. You know, I had to keep doing it and compressing it from top to bottom, turning it around a bit again and doing it again. Whereas with that type, you can get it formed to a degree and get it crimped down to a degree, but to put enough pressure on it, I've found, especially with the ones that were in these clips that were included, the terminals that were included, so that was tough. I did find that tough in this one as well. You really have to put the pressure on it to really get some kind of a movement on it. You know, with them ones, to finish it, I usually have to get some pliers and press down afterwards to finish the crimp. But they're doing the job for the. I bought these mainly for the wire stripping part, but you know, they're both doing a job to a degree. Okay, now these nuts on the ends of your quartz tubes, obviously these are the ones that are still in, but I'm just showing you. Those are the best metric fit for those. If you're going to get the alpine ones that I've showed here anyway, you will have to deal with the nut and the thread connection. Now this is a 7mm socket. Where is it on there? There we go. This one is a 7mm, but it could be, and I just checked it as well because I'm sure there was an equivalent, I think, to 7mm, and a 9/32 in Imperial fits that as well. So it is a good bet that these are Imperial. These are Imperial nuts that they've put on there. They probably are more likely 9/32 over 7, but the 7 it's an equivalent. I think it's a snug fit on there again anyway. And I would use a deep socket, obviously because of the length of the thread on there. But it is a relatively short thread. It's not too long, so you might get away with using a shallow socket on there. Or you might not. I don't know. I'll get one and have a look. But what's that one? So, if I just get a shallow 7, let's see. Yeah, just about reach. Well, this is with the Draper Expert one anyway. It depends on your brand, but it will just about fit over the end of the thread. Obviously be careful, these ones are spent, so the thread itself, which is connected to the element that runs through the tube, is obviously in a bad state because it's twisting around because it's obviously been spent and used up. But be careful when you undo the nuts on the new ones, in case you accidentally force them and damage the new ones themselves. And when we go back to when we was doing our new crimping on our new connectors and shrink tubing them down, this one is on the negative side, the blue wire that runs on along that back there. That one is 2 wires in one, so when you cut the old connector off, you will have to strip both ends of the wire, twist them both together, put them both into the connector. Make sure you put a bigger next size up shrink wrap tube on there, because you got the 2 wires together, and the smaller ones we were using on here just wouldn't cut the mustard, they would fit over the top. So you want to remember that you'll have to do that. Now when it comes to removing the sheet metal, you've got these little tabs. You see a little tab there, and what you'll have to do is use a little pair of pliers. I've got that cheap pair actually, it's already out on the top. That should be fine, something like that should be fine. You might find a needle nose pair better for the job, but you've only got that, so you can see that tab, and they're the kind of tabs that run all the way around, and you might have to bend that up, which these would be fine for. Just a mini, this is just a normal. Luckily for me, these are a mini combination plier, so they will do the job fine. As you can see, they fit over that tab just right. But a full size combination plier might be all you need as well. And what you'll have to do, there's a slot and a straight cut slot, and that's been poked through and then twisted at an angle. So you'll have to twist that gently, so you don't snap it. Twist that gently, flat, horizontally, so it'll come through the slot at once more. And once we've done that all the way around, we'll take a look at the elements and getting them out and putting the new ones in. Okay, once we've done all those tabs, we've bent those tabs in place, we can push them through. You can leave the sides screwed down, and we just all that dust is just flicked off. Come off the sides, and we want to push the. You can just pull that back all the way along. Same the other side, and those tabs will poke through. And the back is that screws down that side with these 3 holes, but they go through the chassis. 1, 2, 3. So those screws that you took the back off with, it goes through and holds that in anyway. So you don't have to worry there, and you don't have to undo the ones holding the back of it back, because all you have to do really is just pull it back and take your old ones in and your new ones out that way. So you can just bend that back. Forward and again that end. Forward. Pull that out. It's like a springy thing. Be careful, because they're sometimes like powdery stuff can come out of there. You just pick that up and just move it to one side for the moment. I think that the powdery stuff is just like the kind of glue that they glue the glass tube to the actual those grey parts on the caps on the end that hold it in. So it just, you always want to make sure you wash your hands anyway. Pick up anything, any of the glass that breaks away from the tube. Like we've got some there. Just put it to one side. And now you're ready to put your new elements in. Okay, when we've put our new elements in and we've connected our connector wires, what I actually did was I took the old nuts and split washer off the old elements, and I just stuck them over, because it's exactly the same thread. I just stuck them over the top, save in case I strain it and break it, save doing that. That was just easier for me to do, and I just stuck that over the top. Obviously if you're buying them for the first time, you might not have them if you've got different ones in there. If you have got the same type in there, it should be alright. Like I say, it's hit and miss. You will have to, depending on, you might have elements. They sometimes, different people sell elements like that actually, that have the good old they have the good old spade type connector on the end of them, like that, and in which case all you need is a female one like that to crimp onto the end, and then that will just plug in. That would be a hell of a lot easier to deal with, in fact, than these ones, but these are the ones that I was dealt, so we had to come up with another way. So once you've got your connections all connected up both sides, obviously now you've got to reconnect the reflector, the sheet metal part back down, put all the tabs through the holes, and then give them a little twist at an angle to stop them popping back out, and you can screw the back on and turn it on. Reflector back in place, and your tabs pushed through and bent down or twisted to the side, whichever way is more comfortable for you. And these corners just pushed back, bent back slightly as they were before. Stick the back on, you should be good to go. Once you got it all back together again, you can check it. So we've got 400, which is 1 bar, which is the bar that you can see down there, down the bottom, now coming on, and 800, which is both bars for this particular one. You can see the top one coming on. So that's brilliant. Everything works as it should. Now this particular heater, I think, is one that's designed to you buy it, use it, and when the bars run out, you know, when 1 bar runs out, you probably manage with 1 bar until they both run out, and then you throw it away. So it's probably designed to be disposable, especially since it had security screws in a few parts. It's originally that I removed in the back, but I've actually had this redone twice now. The only problem is that the sheet metal in the back with the tabs. If you do that too many times, they will eventually just cold work and snap off the tabs. So obviously, you know, it's designed to be done once, and but we've got a few more uses out of it. But you know, there are some out there that are designed to for you to interchange the elements, but they're obviously made a little bit more, you know, accessible in those kind of heaters, where these ones are a bit like a fire and forget, if you know, kind of thing. You chuck it away afterwards, but you can get them going again. You just have to remember that if you do it too many times, that the reflector in the back, you'll damage the metal tabs that hold it on. They will cold work and snap off, but So we got there, job's a good one. It's working perfectly, just how we want it to be working. You can feel the heat off, that's nice. Turn that back off again. Let that cool down a bit. It's a bit cold outside before we take it out and put it back into the house. And that one's done. Like I say, I've got another one as well. They can be perfect this time of year in the winter for inside the workshop or your garage or whatever if you're working, and keep you nice and warm. But they can be done. A bit of a random one, but I was doing it anyway, so I thought I'd film it. You never know, there'll be people out there that will be people out there that be interested in doing that. So you can guarantee it. So that's one for the books. We tried out the crimping pliers, and the Powerfix one was okay. It was fairly decent for the crimping. Not exactly straight like the industrial kind of crimpers that you can get, that like you see on all your stuff, like the ones that we took off when we examined it, but it did crimp them down nicely, and a bit more of a proper job than the Tool Zone one for crimping. However, the Tool Zone one does have a nicer cutter, wire cutter, than the actual cutter on there, which at times when I was doing this didn't really want to go through. I had to do it a few times, and then I tried the Tool Zone one, and it just went through like butter. So the Tool Zone one does have a slightly better wire cutter. The wire stripper is obviously better on the Powerfix ones, and the terminals are like we saw. They do the job and they're good enough in the Tool Zone ones. That's what I took them out of. But they are incredibly thick, incredibly tough and hard to crimp, which might actually be part of the problem for the Tool Zone crimper as well. If we actually tried the ones that come with the Powerfix, they might actually, I mean, it does look to be a little bit thinner down the end of that one there, the blue top corner, just in there. So it might have been easier to crimp. And they might actually be easier to crimp with the Tool Zone as well. They might be perfect. So it might actually be the fact that the connectors or the terminals that they included with the Tool Zone one, which is, I think it's the same as the Bergen one, and a lot of these Far Eastern ones, jobs that are coming over, might actually be the reason why I found it tough to crimp with those pliers. It might actually be that you buy a more recognised set of terminals and connectors that they'll crimp nicely. That's something to bear in mind. But we did get to take a look at both of those tools. Like I say, I usually try to I'll review a tool, but any like DIY tip videos, I'll try and use them so we can see them actually in use, so to speak. So I hope that helps some of you out anyway.